Hello and welcome to another edition of the TES Secondary Maths Resource of the Week with me, Craig Barton. Now, one thing I've kind of picked up on over the years of teaching and certainly over the years of doing these resources of the week for TES is that you've got to be a little bit careful with the use of games in mathematics. And this goes back to something Daniel Willingham talks about. I've kind of name dropped Daniel Willingham a fair bit over the last few months of these Resource of the Week videos, and that's just because I just think he says a lot of sense. And that is, students remember what they think about. So if students are playing a game and the thing that they are thinking about during that game is not the core mathematics being studied, then the chance of them remembering or learning that is drastically reduced. So whenever I'm thinking about activities in general, but games in particular that I'm going to use with students in the maths lesson, I always ask myself, what will students be thinking about whilst they're playing this game? And fortunately, this wonderful game is a fine example where students are playing something in a different, exciting, interesting context, but they have to be thinking about the mathematics, which is so important. So it's called Calculating with Fractions and Mixed Number Connect 4 game. It has been kindly written and shared by Durham Potter. And it consists of a PowerPoint file with just 2 slides on it. We have a kind of non-mixed number version and a mixed number version. So hopefully you're familiar with how Connect 4 works. This is often the problem, by the way. The students these days, they're becoming less and less familiar with some of the flipping classic games that are out there. So you may well have to remind students of the rules of Connect 4. But it's all here there. Players playing 2, taking in turns to choose a question, and the correct solution will be found somewhere in the answer grid. If they get it right, they colour it in their colour, and it's a race to get 4 in a row. Now, what do I like about this? Well, firstly, the range of questions is excellent. As far as I can see, and I just had a quick look, there is no way to get 4 in a row without doing at least 3 different fraction operations. So that's important. If you're a bit dodgy at divisions, there's no way you can avoid doing your division and so on. I like the fact that the answers are provided in the answer grid, but they're all mixed up. Because that means if a student gets a question and ends up with an answer that isn't there, it produces that moment of conflict and that moment of real kind of thinking and reflecting on what's gone on there, which I think is really, really important in a learning context. But I really like the fact that, and this isn't often the case in many games, that both players have an incentive to be actively involved at all times. So if I'm playing against my friend and I go, right, I'm going to take on this one here, 5/7 plus 2/3, right, that comes to 5/18, and I just start colouring it in. If my friend's not on the ball, then I'm going to get that, even though I'm talking an absolute load of nonsense there. So my friend has every incentive to check absolutely everything I do, which is great, which means people are actively involved and so on throughout the whole game. And it's not just the case you sat there waiting for your turn. You see, you're going to have to be careful with how you, the rules that you do with challenges. And I say something like, if you challenge someone's answer and you turn out to be right, then you get hold of that square. If you challenge someone's answer and you turn out to be wrong, they get another go. Just something like that with rules like that. Another thing, and I've talked about this a lot over the years in Resource of the Week, is I like to give kids a calculator token. So say you're playing in pairs, every single child gets their own calculator token, and they can use that once and once only, and they can just get their own calculators out for this, because the kids can kind of monitor each other to check an answer, to check the other person's answer. So if you've had a go and you say 7/15 divided by 3/5, that comes to 5/6, and I'm thinking, ooh, not 100% sure on that, but I'm a bit dodgy on my division, then I might choose to use my calculator token just to check that. And again, I've spoke about this a lot in the past. The real advantage of that kind of thing is it offers support to kids, but in a really clever way that really makes them think, is this the best use of my token? Or in fact, can I figure out whether that is going to be right or wrong? And it just makes them think a little bit more deeply about each topic instead of either giving up because there's no help available or immediately just going for help. So I really, really, really like that as a concept. So yeah, I just think this is wonderful. And as I say, there's a mixed number equivalent there, which is superb, with some nice whole numbers divided by fractions and so on and so forth. I like that as well. Look, you've got 4 times 2/3 and 4 times 2 3/4 and 4 divided by 2 3/4, just to make sure that kids get those the right way around and so on. So I just think that's one of the best kind of games out there because kids are interested. But they're also thinking about the mathematics and working on what I need them to be working on. So I'm a massive, massive, massive fan on that. If you like it, give it a download, give it a review, say thanks to the author, and I shall return with a fresh Resource of the Week next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.